Well, friends, welcome back to the Fire Pit. Richard here. Happy New Year to all. I pray everybody's doing well. It feels like it's been a while. It has been a while since I've been on here and talking and having these Fire Pit conversations. It's something I thoroughly had and have enjoyed doing since last spring, and I pray for those that have been able to listen that these have been videos that have been helpful for you, for your heart, and in some way, and maybe help kind of challenge some of your thoughts and kind of your walk with God, and the way you're growing in a relationship with Him in some way. And don't know what that looks like for your life personally, and but this has also been a good place for me just to continue to share my heart and be able to kind of process in the moment kind of what's going on and what God's doing in my heart and my life, and that of my family, and things that He's showing me. So it's been fun, and I look forward to continuing to do that into this year as well, as long as God keeps me on this platform and has me continue to share these things. I'll continue to do so. But again, I just pray everybody's doing well. It's a cool, frosty January morning. I don't know if y'all can hear the sound of that. This car that just drove by, and frost all over the windshield still, trying to wipe it off with their windshield wipers. Not very successfully, but anyway, yeah, it's another frosty morning here in Georgia. Actually got some snow in the forecast, potentially. Oh my goodness. I think tonight into tomorrow for parts of North Georgia. I don't think we'll see much here where I live. I think I'm a little too far south for it, but up where my daughter goes to school, may get a couple inches, and so that's pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to this weekend. This weekend I get to spend some time with some allies and some brothers up in the Carolinas, and we get to blow some Christmas trees up, and just get to spend some time in some good fellowship. I got some of the men in my circle down here coming up with me this time, and I'm looking forward to that time. It's something I've been able to had the pleasure of and honor being able to be a part of over the last couple of years, and so now something to really look forward to at the start of every year, just to spend time with these group of men. I've got a Christmas tree right the other side of this camera that's going to be loading up with me in my truck, and we're going to take it up and help it blow up. This one came from my son's work. He's a manager at a local Chick-fil-A, and they were going to get rid of the tree, so said we might as well take it up and blow it up. So we look forward to that, and just thankful to have that opportunity with those men. So it's been a lot going on, hadn't there? A lot going on in this world, in this country. Depending on your perspective, a lot of good, a lot of bad, and a lot of uncertainty with everything that's happening, and it's hard to make heads or tails of it all. But I continue to stay where I've continued to try to focus through all of this, through all the chaos that's happened over the last year, especially since this pandemic began early last year, and as it's continued, and as we've had a lot of crazy alterations to our way of life, many, I believe firmly, and I'll stand on this, unnecessary, but it's what's happening right now. What does that do to our hearts? What does that do to our faith? How does that really affect kind of the way we look at life? And even question. I am almost certain there's many of you that have questioned at some point, where's God in all of this? What is He up to? It leads me to just sit here processing. We just came through the Christmas season, and I really hope everybody had a great Christmas in some way, whatever that looked like for your family. I know for many of you, It was a little different this past year, and I pray that's not the case next year, that we are able to celebrate the coming of the King and the birth of Jesus in the ways that we've known. But the reality remains the same in all of it, that Jesus is still the same then, now, and always will be, that none of the truth of what Christmas is about and has been about changes. Maybe just the way we've known to observe it maybe changed a little bit this year, but the focus on the thing that is most important in it all, and that is the rescue and the coming of Jesus, and now looking forward with great hope to his second coming, I think is so vitally important as we go into that season, and basically, and I would say year round. That's what we should always have this posture just with hopeful anticipation of Jesus coming again. And when that'll be, we don't know. I mean, there's obviously always all kinds of speculation that of when it'll be, and looking at the world circumstances around us, and things that seem to be pointing towards the signs. And I do believe that we are closer and closer towards the coming of Jesus. Still don't know when that be. It may not be in my lifetime. It may be in my lifetime. I don't know. But I look forward with great hope to the day that it does come, that he does return and cracks the eastern sky and comes and rescues his beloved and all that. But I just with everything that's happened, and we've had we even had chaos break out this week in DC. We had the people that stormed the U.S. Capitol building, and it's par for the course. It doesn't matter. I don't care what side of the fence you're on in all of this. It's par for the course as the situation and the chaos that has erupted in this country. It's because we've been seeing these type of things happen for months now, and I'm gonna put it. Yes, there are agitators in the midst of it all. There always are. There are always people that are looking to push something further than it needs to go. And yes, and I will say this: there is a point. At some point, there is always going to be a breaking point for society as well when they get pushed too far. And that's the truth, and that's reality of the way we are. But in the midst of it all, there's been so much lawlessness and that has taken place, and that people on all sides, no matter whether it's the riots over the summer or what's happened in DC this week, there are people that legitimately have felt pushed beyond a breaking point, and that's so I don't know what to make of it all. And it's so, I have my beliefs and my personal opinions on it, my own political beliefs, and I'm not here to go into all of that stuff. That's not the thing that's most important. I vote my beliefs, I vote my faith, and all of that. But here, I'm here to talk about the most important thing of it all, and that is our faith, that is our hope in Jesus, and that is the thing that we need to most look forward to. So as we come into this new year, as we begin, we're now early January 2021. There are many that are like, oh gosh, can we just get rid of 2020? I'm ready for 2020 to end and everything. And so many put their hope in the turning of the calendar. And what does that do? That does nothing. All that does is set you up for disappointment, because now we're in 2021 and things have already kind of looked a little chaotic in different ways, and now already hearing it, oh gosh, can we look to 2022 now? And we're not even through the first week of the year. I mean, my goodness. So people put their hope so much in the turning of the calendar. It needs to lie something in someone way more important and way more real and substantial and more impactful than anyone, and that is Jesus Christ. That's where we need to be staying, and that's where we need to keep our hearts and our hope towards. there's so much just to think about with all that. And how is that impacting each one of us? If we put our hope in the wrong things, how is that going to set our hearts up? What kind of disappointment are we going to be dealing with if we put our hearts and hope in things other than Jesus? So that's where I am, and I would just think about that this morning. We know this world is rigged. It doesn't work apart from God. It doesn't. And to see what happens when we try to make it work on our own, just look around. What's happening? Just look around this country. What's happened over this past year? It's a world filled with trying to make things work on our terms. And it continually gets worse. It continually moves to things. It continually doesn't work in the way we think. It doesn't turn out the way we think it will. And we want it to happen. So what does that leave us? We have no other recourse and choice but to turn back to God, but to listen to Him, but to turn back to Him and to hear what is it that He is doing. What is He up to in the midst of all this? I'm going through this reading plan on the YouVersion app with some brothers, and I went through it on my own over in December before Christmas. And it really just, it's a good plan for men to really kind of look at how do we really start living our lives for God versus the way we've come to know life. And, the other day I was sitting there processing some thoughts on that. And I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm sure there are many that have questioned, where is God in the midst of all this? And the truth and reality of it all, friends, is that He's been right there with us, waiting on us to turn to Him, waiting on us to turn back to Him, waiting on us to seek Him. He's right here. He's right here with us. He hasn't left us. Hebrews 13:5 says He will never leave you nor forsake you. He is always here with us. I went back and I was reflecting on this, and I was sharing with the men that, several years back when I was going through my graduate school program for counseling, in one of my intensive classes when I was up at Liberty University, we did this thing called a spiritual life map. And it's a very good practice. If you ever want to try something to really look at kind of the timeline of your life, it's a very cool thing to practice. You can even look this up and kind of get an idea of what that looks like image-wise. But basically drawing a timeline, illustrating a timeline of your life, marking different events that have happened over the course of your life. And I can hear it and I remember as I was finishing that up and I looked over this and I was like, God, what are you saying in all this? Because there was definitely a big swath of that 36 years of that time frame where I really didn't walk with God. I didn't really know Him yet. There was a time when I was trying to pursue Him, trying to figure out, who is God? Who is He to me truly? But one thing that I can sense God really saying in all that is like, through all of this, I have always been here. You have always been my beloved. I have always been here, waiting for you. But He's never left. And so we have to remember that. Remember how hopeful and wonderful that is to know that God is always here with you. Just turn to Him. We just have to turn to Him, speak with Him, learn to really just walk with Him in the dailies, and it opens up our hearts to so much more, I'm not alone in this, or I'm not saying I'm perfect at all in all this, because there is, I've had my own struggles personally with it, and it's with work getting very busy and distracting, and it's good to have things going well in that sense. December was a fairly good month work-wise, but at the same time, I found myself constantly on the go, constantly going, and there wasn't as much time to just stop and just hear from God and listen to God and be in His presence. So I found myself kind of lacking in that. So I share all this to remind myself as well, that to remember that God is always here, that we can always trust in Him, that He is always going to be the one that provides what we need, that He's always going to be there with us. We just need to turn our hearts and our eyes and our spirits towards Him. He hasn't left us. He hasn't forsaken us. But when we choose apart from Him, it's not going to go the way we want it to most times. Some things might work out the way we think they should work out, but at some point, things will come crashing down. They will keep our hearts and our minds and our focus towards the things that are not of God, that are not important. So we have to remember that. We have to remember those things and how important and vital it is to keep our attention towards Him in the dailies and all that. So I'm going to close today, and before we stop this video, one thing I really want to encourage you, if you haven't done so, friends, spend some time with God and asking Him for words for this year. Ask Him for words. What words does He have for you for this year? What words does He have for your family for this year? Maybe I'll share my words for 2021 later. But for 2020, the main word that He gave me and my wife, actually, was joy. We had gone through a very tough year prior in 2019. Obviously, 2020 for everyone. That was for us personally as a family. And then, obviously, this last year was chaotic and nuts for everyone. But I think God was just reminding us that in the midst of everything, and how no matter how tough it is, that we can still count it all as joy, that we can look joyously with hope to Him. Because when we look with all that, walk through everything with a joyful heart for Jesus. As Peter wrote in 1 Peter, that it helps show the genuineness of our faith. That our faith, we get tested as fire tests gold, and we and all the impurities begin to kind of get melted away. But it helps to hone us. It helps to harden it. It helps to forge the trueness of our faith and who we are, if we look toward everything with joy. And He definitely has words for us, for me, for this year as well. And again, I'll share that at another time. But spend some time. Ask God, what are your words for me for 2021, for this coming year? What are your words for my family? This is a very important thing, and I'm thankful that I've had this practice the last few years. It's been really good. And I write that word. I usually write it on the front inside cover of my journal for that year, so that I look back, and it helps just remind me to go back to those things and not forget that those words. So again, do so. Spend some time in that, friends. So it's been good. I'm so thankful to be back here with y'all again, friends, and I look forward to seeing y'all again on another Firepit conversation. Until next time, take care, and God bless.